Hello, good morning. I feel like it's been far too long since I did a little bit of a day in the life blog. So here we are. It is 7:42 on a Wednesday morning and I'm just heading to a nearby coffee shop to do a little bit of work out today. So I've got a free morning of calls and then I've got 3 calls this afternoon. So in the mornings where I don't have calls, I quite like to use that as an opportunity to go out, mix it up, change the scene, and yeah, just work somewhere different. It was a bank holiday here this week, so it was what felt like Monday yesterday, but quite nice having a short week. So I had quite a busy day yesterday, had a discovery call with a potential new client, and I had 3 client calls. So yeah, it was quite non-stop. But this morning I'm gonna head to a coffee shop and I've got a little bit of like content creation to do this morning. I'll talk you through when I sit down kind of what I'm focusing on at the moment, but it's the last week of August before obviously Q4 starts in September, which is always like a really kind of lucrative and I always felt like high energy, high opportunity season. So it's quite exciting going into that and planning ahead for what that looks like, who I want to be working with, what kind of opportunities I'm available for. So yeah, all is well really. The weather is okay at the moment. Looks like it's going to be a little bit rainy for the rest of the week, so just got to make the most of the last bits of summer. And then we're going out to see friends, well, meet friends for dinner this evening at a really great restaurant in London called Circolo Popolare. I'll see if I can film some little clips because it's very aesthetic and the food is so good and all the plates are those gorgeous like hand-painted pottery-esque plates. So yeah, a good day ahead. I've actually got another discovery call, 2 discovery calls this afternoon. So if those 3 discovery calls come through, then that would be excellent. I'm feeling hopeful. You never know. Sometimes people just, jump on calls to do a little bit of research. Sometimes they're not in the right mindset of moving forward. But the girl that I spoke to yesterday definitely feels like she is committed, serious about investing, wants to get things moving ASAP. So I'm going to check in with her on Friday and then we'll see how the other 2 go this afternoon. Oh, by the way, not work related, but I've discovered a podcast. It's not new, I think this is the 2nd season, but I've only just come across it, called The Affair by Anna Williamson, and it's really good. It's real life stories. Each episode features a different person who comes on and talks about the affair that they've been involved in. So either they are the person who's had the affair, they're like the other woman, and it's like all their story of what that looked like, what their involvement was, how the story unfolded, and yeah, it's juicy. So if you like that kind of thing, would highly recommend. Hope you can hear me. I'm in the coffee shop, just sitting down to do a little bit of my first batch of work. So I like to do time blocking, and for the next hour I'm going to try and create a little bit of content for the rest of the week. So what I do with long-term one-to-one coaching clients is I send like a coaching feedback and experience form, which has like a bunch of questions of kind of where were you when you started, like what was it that like inspired you to reach out, what was your experience like working with me, some of the shifts and transformations that you saw during our time together. So I've got that back from a recent client I worked with for 4 months. So I'm going to use that and turn it into a carousel post on Instagram as a way of kind of showcasing some of the results that I helped this client achieve. And I will also be organising a Instagram live with her, likely for next week, where we can just kind of talk through on a live kind of Instagram live, which is just A, really good for my credibility, but also B, good much more detail, and it's just a really great kind of testimonial for me to have to share with prospective clients, and also just to have on my socials. So that is the focus for now. And then I will come up with another post for tomorrow that will probably be a bit more like lighter touch, more like a B-roll style probably. I always try and have like a mixture of more educational, longer form, and then shorter, snappier, kind of more top level, but still obviously always leading with value. So that's my plan for the next hour, and then after that I have a couple of calls, as I said, this afternoon, so I'm probably going to prep for those, and then I've also got a training that I downloaded from a guy called Josh Spector that I follow on, well, I'm on his mailing list, and he's done a training about how to convert subscribers to customers. So he's big on like newsletters and how to drive sales through your newsletter, and my newsletter is definitely something that I want to focus a little bit more on for Q4 and really try to grow that. So I'm going to watch some of that training and then head back, because I've got a call at 12, which is my Expanded Club co-working call. So each month we do a monthly co-working session. There's not really an agenda, it's just a chance to work for an hour with others. We kind of share at the beginning what we're working on, which is always just interesting to see and hear what other people are focusing on. And then it's just a space uninterrupted to prioritise said piece of work or projects. So I will probably multitask and have my lunch during that time, just because by the time it gets to 1 o'clock I will be very hungry. So that is my plan. It is 3 hours later and I'm now on my way back home. Had a productive morning, actually worked in a different coffee shop than I was planning on, but it turned out to be a very good one, so I will definitely be going back. Got my post done for today. I usually try and do my content like at least a few days in advance, but because we were off last week in France and it's a shorter week, I don't know, I'm doing it on a day-to-day basis, which I know what I'm posting, I just hadn't put it together. So anyway, I did that, created a LinkedIn post for tomorrow, checked in with clients, responded to a few emails. So yeah, it's been a good laptop-based morning, but I'm heading back now. I'm going to make a little bit of lunch ahead of my call at 12, and as I said, I'm going to have the call at 12, so all is well. The sun is out. It was a little bit rainy earlier, and I think it's getting rainy later. But I like the days where there's like a bit of change of scene throughout the day. So yesterday I was very much at my desk all day, and that would be a bit of a tip, is if you can try and mix up the location, or at least if you're working from home all day because you've got client calls, always get out for a walk at lunchtime, even go for like a little 20-minute walk in the afternoon, have lunch in a different environment. Just changing up your environment helps to shift up your energy and feel focused and motivated and energized, because otherwise you just get a bit bored of being in the same place the whole time. So finding coffee spots or places that you can work from near you is always helpful, and if you want to venture further afield, then that's also good too. But because I'm going central this evening, I didn't want to be out all day, given I've got a number of calls this afternoon, so that's why I headed out this morning. I am back home now, and I'm just going to make a little bit of lunch, not to have yet, but to have in about an hour, and I am making a classic. My husband always laughs that I have the same lunch on repeat, and it's not quite true, but I do have similar lunches all the time. So today we are having a pita with chicken, rocket, avocado, cucumber, tzatziki, and that's it. So I'm literally going to put that together now and head upstairs, and I will today be having my lunch at my desk, which I very rarely do. But because of this call 12 till 1, I know I'm already starting to feel hungry. So I know that I'm going to want that in that hour. So I'm going to make that, and then we will head upstairs to the office area, which is coming together. We've still got a while to go, but we re-varnished the desk over the weekend. So that looks brand new. We've got a lovely leather, like, how do you describe it? Sort of desk pad, I think they're called, that we're putting on the desk. I'll show you when we go upstairs. And then the next thing that we urgently need to get is a proper chair, because the one that we have at the moment is just, it's just not very comfortable if you're on it for more than 1 or 2 hours. And then the rest of the room, there's still some way to go. But, you know, one step at a time, we are getting there. And it's so nice having a separate space to, that's my pita, a separate space that I can work from that's not like in the living room or kitchen, which is what I was doing. And I just didn't want to be in the same space the whole time. So now I try and really keep separate my workspace to my living space, which is another tip that I would give as a business owner, is if you're working from home quite a lot, having separation between where you hang out, like in the evening or in the mornings, like with your partner or friends or whatever, and then having a separate space that you can work from, which is why I'm also an advocate of trying to get out when you can, so that you're not then bored of the space that you live in, which is what was happening to me in my old place, is I was working and living in the same space like 80% of the time. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to make my pita and then I will take you upstairs. Something that I've been loving recently, which I don't know where it's come from. I think I must have been influenced through like those Instagram recipes that you see pop up of like healthy, high protein, yada, yada, yada. Cottage cheese. So good. So good. So I'm just adding a little dollop onto the side of my plate. I don't know whether it's a bit of like a love-hate thing, cottage cheese, but no one can deny it's very good for you. So that is my lunch. And I know that I will be hungry in a few hours' time, but so if I can show you. Just a tasty pita, really. Can't really go wrong. Satisfies all the senses, crunchy, healthy, soft, sweet. Well, not really sweet, but you know what I mean. So I'm quite happy with that. And now let's go upstairs. So it's looking a little bit messy actually, but you can get the idea. This is the current desk setup upstairs, which I just think is fab. Right, lovely, what looks like brand new table, varnished. And then yeah, the desk pad that we're getting is like a kind of leather mat almost that goes on here that will cover that space. So then we've got laptop stand, second screen if needed, separate laptop, keyboard and mouse, which I would say actually does make a big difference. I think from like a posture perspective, it's just higher, it's like better eye level. And type on a keyboard, I don't know, I just feel like it feels nice. So this is the setup we're working with, and got 2 windows there, skylights behind, so when I want to open up the windows when it's hot, like it is now, because it gets a little bit warm up here, because obviously it's the top of the house. But it just feels like a really lovely space. And the only other thing that we need to get is, well, one of the other things is a speaker, because I love listening to music or having some kind of background music when I'm working. But this is where I will be for the rest of the afternoon. If you do have any questions, please do pop them in the comments, and I will be more than happy to either answer them directly or answer them in the next video, just so that you can get any more insight or information on what it's like to run a business from your laptop, anywhere really. But yeah, hopefully I'm providing you some insights, and basically every day looks different. I do try and separate client calls to either have like in one morning or like one afternoon, versus having like one on a Monday morning, one on a Tuesday afternoon, one on a Wednesday morning. Like I do try and separate them so that I've got mornings like today where I'm not interrupted with calls, and I can just like do more of like the strategy side of the business. And And then when I have calls, like I've got 3 this afternoon, 2 are discovery calls. One of them's like with a long-standing corporate client that I've worked with, just as like a check-in. It makes sense to do those like grouped so that I can be at my desk and I know that I've got calls like coming up, if that makes sense. But yeah, if you have any questions on like productivity or time blocking, I'm your gal. I love that kind of thing, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. It is a few hours later, not a huge amount to report. I have just made myself a peppermint tea. I have some sweet and salty popcorn as a snack. It is 25 to 3, so I've got my next call at 3 o'clock, which is a discovery call. So what I'm going to do now is have a look at the discovery call form that she filled in with some more information about what she's looking for, where she's at, what some of her goals are. Obviously this is just kind of top line, but it gives me a bit of a starting point for the conversation. And then, yeah, looking forward to speaking to her really. And we'll see afterwards. I'll let you know how the call goes. Usually they're about 25 minutes or so. And that gives people who are in that headspace of looking for a coach wanting to invest enough time to make the decision. And then, yeah, I've got the next one at 4:30. So I will check in with you after the discovery call. Wish me luck. I am done with my calls. I am getting a snack because I am now very starving. Both discovery calls went really well. I'm feeling quietly confident. I have learned over the years of doing this that you really just don't know until you hear back from the client. But it's always important to ask and gauge, how does it feel? Like, how is that aligned with your expectations? Like financially, is this something that you're kind of able to invest in, etc., etc.? And you can kind of gauge, I mean, you never know. But yeah, one of them is in kind of high-tech affiliate marketing, and the other one has a brand new kind of wellness focused kidswear brand. So both very different, both female founders, solopreneurs, and I would honestly love to work with them both. So I'm going to hear back from them both by Friday. One of them I've actually got a placeholder in for her first call next week, which does suggest promising news because, you know, people are thinking more ahead and putting it in the diary. And then the other one actually has an investor that she's going to speak to on the thinking that the investor can provide or cover the cost of the coaching. So yeah, let's see. But now I'm going to make a snack. I'm just going to have some carrot sticks and rice cake, cottage cheese, tomato, very, very random. But I am conscious that I'm going to be eating a big Italian feast in 2 hours. So I don't want to feel full for that. So I'm just going to have a little snack to keep me going. I'm leaving in just under an hour. That's kind of where we're at. So not like overly exciting day in terms of like content to show you, but this is kind of the reality of when I'm working from home and having more of like a laptop focused day. I haven't been out at lunchtime, which is what I normally do, but because I was out earlier and walked there and back, I kind of didn't feel like I needed it. But it gets to this point in the day, like 5 o'clock, where I'm like, okay, I'm going a little bit stir crazy. I've been at my laptop non-stop, but changing rooms, having a snack, getting some fresh air are all things that help me, which is exactly what I'm doing. So I might even, once again, I never really do this, but just do the next half an hour, which is kind of just like tidying things up, looking into reformer classes, following up with an email, is do that from my bed, because that's cozy. I can have my windows open, fresh air, and why not? You know, why not? That's what I feel like doing. That's going to give me the energy for the next half an hour. So that is what I'm going to do. Sometimes this is just what you need to do, especially at the end of the day. I feel like actually I could get on board with doing this first thing, like having a cup of tea, having like a piece of toast, having your whatever overnight oats, and working from bed. The only reason why I don't is because I don't feel like it sets you up to be in like that productive headspace. Whereas when you're like at a coffee shop or at your desk, it feels like a better way to start the day. But I don't know, I feel like sometimes the most productive work is done from bed. So if this inspires you, then my invitation is there for you to do the same. Right, I am ready to head out. I thought I would just wrap up this little vlog here. Appreciate that it's not been the most interesting, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of an insight into a realistic day in my life. One thing I didn't mention when I haven't finished it yet, but the training that I was watching about newsletters, something that I think is really important, if you have a mailing list, if you sell through emails, he said that, I can't remember where the statistic came from, but 80% of people don't read the email below the fold. And what I think that means is when you see an email either on your phone screen or your laptop screen, people don't scroll beneath what they can't see on that screen. And it's so common, and I do it myself, not all the time, but I do it, where you put an offer or like a call to action at the end of the email. And that's basically saying that only 20% of people see that. So something to keep in mind for newsletters is put your offers, not a sales pitch, but the offer, where people are going to see it. So don't be afraid of including it in the introduction. And this can be done in a very subtle, soft way, which is like a hyperlinked, or which is embedded within a story, or which is involves like a question. At the end of the day, if you've got an offer that is valuable, that you know is going to help people, why do it a disservice by hiding it at the bottom? And the other thing he was saying, which to be honest I don't do, but I do see a lot, is if it looks like an ad or if it looks salesy, people will skim over it. So embedding it in a very organic, authentic way is really important, as well as mixing up how you embed it. So he was saying that like repetition just kills interest. So mixing up how you present an offer, whether it's with a question, whether it's with in parentheses, whether it's embedded in a story, whether it's a more direct call to action, that's all good. Like mix it up, speak to different buyers, use different colors or positioning, because that keeps people interested, rather than then always seeing the call to action at the end of the email, or always seeing it as like a insertion in the body of the email. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, just thought I'd share a couple of those little tips from the newsletter training that I was watching. And then finally, what he was saying, which I think is a really good point, is the aim isn't to grow your subscribers. The aim is to grow your customers. So rather than trying to get 1,000 subscribers, why not try and get 300 people who are potential buyers? And when you speak to those people and communicate to those people directly, you're far more likely going to see conversion through your newsletter versus just trying to win a numbers game. But yeah, that is it. I'm heading out now. I've got my book with me. I've actually, with a friend, started a book club. We've got the first book club in a couple of weeks. So that's a little bit of a tangent, but that is where I'm taking my book, to have a little bit of a reading time and not be on my screen. And I'll try and take a couple of snippets of the restaurant on my phone so I can insert those here. And make sure you subscribe, leave comments, ask me questions, anything you want to know, please put them below. I really enjoy creating a mixture of these types of videos, as well as the more educational sit-down videos. But if you've got a preference, also let me know. And if there's a topic that you want me to do a sit-down video on, then also share it below. All right, speak to you very soon.